On Saturday, West Ham United returned to the London Stadium to face Southampton. But in my opinion, there's something a little bit more important happening instead of a dead rubber game. On Saturday, West Ham have the DT38 Awareness Day, where it's the opportunity for DT38 to raise awareness about testicular cancer, a dedicated match day for awareness to be raised. And in the build-up to that, I'm delighted to be joined by two fantastic guests who are going to talk me through that. Firstly, Tracy Tombides, of course. Tracy, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And Ian from E13 Events, instrumental in some of the events that DT38 put on. Ian, how are you, mate?
Oh, good, mate. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Frankfurt on later. So.
Sorry?
You're in Frankfurt on later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, I have not. Honestly, I have not. Well, I have laughed at some of the Spurs fans going to Frankfurt and realising what an absolute hole it is, because we had to be there 3 years ago. What a hole it is, and I'm glad they're there, not us. Yeah. Tracy, I'll start with you. Now, this is an annual event at West Ham for one home game a season, the Awareness Day. Fantastic, we're live. There we are. See, if you didn't think we're live, we now are. See, that makes a live show. Makes a live show. Tracy, talk us through the importance, first of all, of an Awareness Day and what it does for the charity.
Well, for the charity, it gives us the opportunity to raise awareness, to reinforce that message of how important it is for early detection around testicular cancer, and just to tap in a lot of the new fans, the new people that are coming to the stadium, the new people that are coming to see the game. They get to hear about Dylan's story and understand why he's held in such high regard at West Ham, and why his legacy continues to live on because of the important work that DT38 is doing to raise awareness and education around testicular cancer.
Absolutely. And Ian, you're heavily involved in some of the events that DT38 put on, but just from, the outside looking, how important can you stress the work that Tracy and the charity does?
Yeah, it's huge. And fair play to West Ham as well. It can't be easy to dedicate an individual match to so many charities that they must get asked for. And obviously the club have got strong connections with Bobby Moore and Bobby Moore Fund and things like that, but they've been excellent with DT38, and obviously the match Saturday, it's always great. It's always hugely important to get the message out there of awareness, and it's something that we care passionately about with Tracy, and continue to work with the charity at our events. And awareness is very important. We've touched on stories before that have come from the events, and it's very humbling that you can make a difference. And it'd just be great if people, I'm sure there'll be an option to QR code and donate some money as well on Saturday. So it's not just about awareness, it's also about raising funds for DT for West Ham. And much as we can all say what we want about West Ham and all that, they've been excellent with DT38.
No, absolutely. How important is the club's importance and dedication to helping for days like this and events, Tracy? How important is that, backing from the club for the charity?
It's hugely important. We don't get to have a platform where there's 60,000 people at our disposal, all at one go, to be hearing about the work that we're doing. And and Ian touched on it. It's vital about us raising funds because we want to keep growing, and in order for us to do so, we need the funds to keep growing. And very lucky, the club have got all our DT38 merchandise in store on the weekend, and on Saturday, the first 200 people that go will and purchase any of the DT38 items from the store will receive a free scarf. So it's, their involvement, the way they support us like this, and through the monetary side of things, is a huge help. And like Ian alluded to, there are QR codes around the stadium in the program on the big screen. And, I often think just how wonderful if every person in the stadium donated a pound, just how awesome that would be for our ability to actually, go on and make some significant inroads into the direction that we want to take the charity with awareness and education.
No, absolutely. So just give us a bit of an insight of what fans can expect on Saturday, Tracy. So there's going to be information in the programme and on the big screen. But overall, you know, what can fans take out of it on Saturday? What's the main purpose for the 60,000 that are going to be going for those turnstiles on Saturday? And some of them may know that it's a DT38 awareness day. Some of them will not, and hopefully can be informed by everything that goes on. But just provide some insight of what people can expect on Saturday.
Yeah, in the build up to the game, you know, they'll learn a little bit about DT38. They'll learn about the events that we hold in conjunction with Ian and E13 events. They'll learn about our golf day. They'll learn about how they can get involved and how they can support the event. Also, our white collar boxing event that's held in November. You know, they'll learn about how they can get involved and help make a difference. And you know, just as West Ham fans, if they are new to the club or they are new to the ground, just, you know, finding out what DT38 is all about and why we're so passionate about what we do. You know, hopefully they'll learn about Dylan and you know, the wonderful person that he was and how his life was cut short. And, you know, just become aware that, you know, they don't want that to happen to their family and their friends and all that sort of thing. So that sort of thing is really what I hope that people take out of the day, because, you know, being aware of Dylan's story then makes you aware of your own health and your own needs to make sure it doesn't happen to you and your family. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, of course, there will be, not sure whether they'll sell it out in their ardent relegation, Southampton, but there will be Southampton fans there on Saturday as well. Now, for them to hear the story and for them to become educated in it as well, when it opens more doors. And I mean, Ian, as you know, we go to away games, we see something like that, all of a sudden then that's in your mind and you might take it home and tell somebody else, and all of a sudden that opens doors and more people are engaged and know about it. And that's the key and most important thing about the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, away fans are great wherever you go, really, aren't they? Yeah. They're your core of your football club, I feel. Yeah. But that's, you know, something I was going to say before you said it about there's 2,500-3,000 away following there as well, and obviously they have their own story as well. I think they had a former player who had testicular cancer, and obviously with what the film of Dylan's story has been out as well, it's opened up not just to West Ham fans, it's opened up to the football community, and so it should. You know, we've had a couple of incidents. Obviously, Bobby Moore had testicular cancer as well, so it opens up all different sort of knowledge, awareness, and fundraising. You know, those Southampton fans, I'm sure, should they see the story and who can't help but be touched by it, would help to donate. And as Tracy says, we work sometimes, like, you know, the charity football match we done, work tirelessly, and it takes months and planning and months of organisation, and you get to a figure at the end of it and you're sort of either happy or you're a little bit disappointed. But whatever that figure is, sometimes it's something is always better than nothing. And you know, we can lay on an event where we raise £25,000, and it's took us 6 months in the planning. But then to be able to have a stadium of 60,000 people, and as Tracy says, if even they donate 50 pence, there's as much will be raised Saturday as would be raised in 6 months planning for an event. Yeah. And the reach of that is just massive, and you just hope that people can dig deep. It's not easy out there at the moment, you know, but everything, someone might be in a good way and, you know, obviously back us to win 5-0, which we're obviously going to do, and but free flowing and free scoring, and give a percentage of their winning bet to DT38.
Wouldn't that be good, hey? And we might get a striker that scores as well.
way, if you
who knows? Who knows? Now, you mentioned the film there. You were both at the showing, of course, where Graham Potter was there. The West Ham manager, saw Matt Jarvis was present there as well. How important events like that to get the message out to more people, Tracy? And I mean that must have been a touching and really proud moment for you to see that.
Oh, it was a very touching, proud moment for sure. You know, Graham being new to the club, you know, he's probably heard of DT38 as part of the induction when he gets in there and that. But, you know, being there on the at the screening, I know that he was moved. He was very touched by it because he didn't know the story. He thought, it was very powerful. And it allows him then to buy into the events or to the activations that we do with the club that involve the first team players. You know, he now has an understanding of why we want the players involved and how important their delivering of the message is. So, it was vital that that Graham knew about it, and it was very grateful that he turned up. You know, people like Matt Jarvis, he's so generous with his time and his, when he attends events and that sort of thing. You know, he's a wonderful gentleman, and he once again, I know he supports everything Ian does. He supports what DT38 does. So, just having these high-profile people, they're making others interested because they follow them in what they're doing and what's going on. It all helps to the message that we're trying to get out.
Absolutely. Now, Ian, talk to me about some of the other events that you do for DT38. Now, behind my set here, I've got a wall, and on that wall, I've got pictures, and quite prominently focus a lot of pictures of West Ham players. And I've got a lot of them with either a DT38 hoodie on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 7 pictures on that wall behind me with former West Ham players from either the awareness day last year or the fantastic golf day that gets put on. So talk to me about the events that you've organised in order to raise funds for DT38.
Well, we a few years ago, I'd met Tracy, and we used to donate to Bobby Moore Fund. And to be honest with you, I found that DT30 had more of a personal touch, and in terms of, it was quite surreal, really. Is that at the film premiere, my sister is in the film, placing a scarf on the gates that I went with her when Dylan sadly passed away against Crystal Palace. And then to see that. And then obviously lead into some highlights from the football match as well was, probably a very surreal moment for me to sit in a cinema and see some of the work that we've helped to contribute be put into that film that millions of people will hopefully see. And we wanted to team up with DT38 because I like to be able to see that the money you're raising is actually making a difference. That's disrespect to any charity. All the work that they do is great, but the bigger ones seem to sometimes get money lost in transition, or it becomes such a big organisation. And obviously, West Ham fans are extremely loyal. I don't think they ever forget much, and they certainly never forget Dylan. And one of the greatest things I ever heard was my old mate Brian Deere at our first ever golf day. It's our 5th this year, our 5th golf day, and I was only speaking to Tracy in the week about some plans we've got for either the end of this year or next year. For something, we try to do something big every year if we can. Maybe this year we took a little bit of a break because we've got our own big dinner coming up this year, which took a lot of my time, cup reunion night. But next year I've got something quite big that I'd like to do with DT38, and that should bring in some really, really good funds. But Brian Deere, going back to him the first golf day, always sat with me, and Brian never met Dylan and probably never knew the story of Dylan until that first golf day. So Trevor Brooking was there, and like he does, he gets on the mic and likes a bit of airtime, Stag, and he did one of the most touching things I think I've ever heard, which was there's only 2 numbers ever been retired at West Ham, Bobby's one of them, and the other one's your boy. And I found that extremely touching. It's never left me. And when you put that into context, what a proud thing that should be for Tracy, that only 2 of our shirt numbers have ever been retired, and one is our greatest ever player, World Cup winner. And, the word legend is really used, but Bobby Moore epitomises West Ham United to me, and the other one is Dylan. And if you like, obviously the gap in Bobby passing sort of 1992 and when Dylan passed, that the new generation of fans, even from the Upton Park, have carried on that mantle of remembering Dylan's legacy and taking it to the new stadium and being a very predominant charity of the club. And we just got to keep going. And every event we do, we have a game of heads and tails where I try and raise some money, be it 50 quid, be it 500 quid. It all makes a difference. And then, so every event we ever do, we raise something. And then we have our box office events. Two people who sort of go under the radar. One is Terry Moncur, who's John's brother, who is the pro at Langdon Hills Golf Club. He does amazing stuff. I can stand up there, take a lot of credit for that golf day. I sell a minimal amount of golf teams. Terry sells 90% of them. He gets 3 big sponsors, all from people in the environment of the golf club. John obviously supports us. I actually get the players messaging now, the former players messages asking when the date of the golf day is.
That's brilliant.
When you've got to that situation, you from my perspective, the first year we were worrying about obviously Trevor being there, and are we going to be able to put enough people out there? We've charged a lot of money. It went great. We raised good money. Second year, we obviously had to come to a bit of a grinding halt in COVID. The football match was excellent. Just the support was amazing. And, we don't want to stop just yet. There's plenty more golf days in me and in Aaron. And when the players are asking, when is the golf day? Like I say, it's just a huge sigh of relief. People like Harris, who I think only come probably in year 3. And at their I hate to say buy in. It's not buying into something, is it? But it moves you to relate to something. And Georgie must have, really struck a chord with him. He stayed the night. We put him in a hotel, and the next day he was just like, I really loved that yesterday. Like the coming together, the fans, the players, the fundraising, and for as long as we keep selling them out, we'll keep doing them. So, and even if we don't sell them out, we'll probably keep doing them anyway because they're just brilliant. So, but Terry and Tony Liston, who does the white collar boxing, along with is it Peacock Gym Trace? Is it?
Peacock. Yeah.
Every November, Remembrance Sunday. I think they're changing it this year. I can't remember, but they put on a huge event, a huge show, and then the DT38 stuff on. The boxers are there, pulling for all the right reasons, and it's really difficult now fundraising. It's tough because the environment of money is tough at the moment, but as I say, we've got a very, very loyal support. I'm talking about the charity here, not us. But the amount of people who come to our shows and events, there's a great guy who's in Belfast with me on Friday called Carl Whittles, and he's a subscriber to I think he gives something monthly or weekly, and it's always about the charity. What's next? What can we do? What can we listen? And people... I've always been biased about our lot because our fans are incredibly special, but they are so loyal and so can be so generous if they can as well. People go so far above and beyond. We've done shirts which are just carrying a DT38 badge or something like that. Then they're not necessarily something that Dylan wore or something like that, which, you know, when you auction stuff might retain a value, and people will just come up with a proper charity bid, and it's just amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And you know, that's we will continue to do it for as long as we can, because it make a difference. So
it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, and you know, all of those events, and I know, you know, I've seen the work and the time that it takes you guys to put these things on, and yeah, it's always brilliant. Just that mix at the evening at the golf day between the players and everybody there. And once Tony Gale's had about 3 pints, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And that about Brian D is the clearest and purest representation you can have about how special the charity is, and how special it is that, you know, DT38 continues to honour the legacy of Dylan, and how West Ham are carrying that on is brilliant as well. Now, just to finish off, Tracy, if somebody's watching this, donates either today or on Saturday to the charity, where's their money going to go? Where's their money ending up in terms of raising awareness and helping the charity?
Yeah, well, at the moment, our focus is on the 12 London clubs around in London into their academies, so that we start educating the young kids. And with that money, they get a set of medical testicles, they get a set of bathroom collection, they get a set of brochures, so that they can educate not only the children but the parents as well. So that's where the money is being spent at the moment, to continue to raise awareness and education. But a lot of it's around the purchasing of our resources that you know, we continually part with when we go to events and things like the West Ham game. You know, you've got 60,000 people there. I can't take 60,000 leaflets and stuff like that, which is where the brochure, where the program comes in handy at directing everybody to their website and that for that information. But, you know, anybody can order any of our bathroom collections or our brochures, or even our education packs that we provide for people in, you know, in the teaching sphere, where they can roll it out and teach the kids. So it's mainly the resources that we need to keep supplying as we deliver our messages. And you know, just touching on West Ham and the legacy that they've left behind, Dylan. You know, people ask me what is the most significant thing, and West Ham. There's a huge long list of the things that West Ham have done for us. But when I stop and think about, you know, how many people that have gone through the Academy of Football, and you know, in that the 27 years, and I think they've named the education centre after Dylan. That is just such a huge honour for me that they have singled Dylan out for that education. So I know that he is always going to be delivering a message. People are always going to be asking a question. Now, who is this kid? And you know, I know that as young as the under 8s get to use that education area with their parents before trainings and stuff like that. So, you know, it's a huge thing knowing that everybody that's passing through the club and passing through the academy, not just necessarily players and staff, not necessarily the first team players and staff, but those that potentially want to have a career as young as 8, getting this education. And, you know, that's where a lot of our brochures, a lot of our bathroom stuff, it's all made available to parents and young players as well. So, yeah, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have this legacy for Dylan that is going to allow people to continually know his story.
No, it's absolutely brilliant. And let's hope that on Saturday it can generate as much awareness, first of all, and funds for the charity as possible. Now, of course, I mean, you mentioned the programme there, and of course that's such a big part of it, because there's a certain, you know, there's a certain segment of the fan base that will buy a programme no matter what. So that's your automatic, you know, people are going to see that, people are going to learn about it, and there's, you know, thousands that will watch the warm-ups, and when they'll see everything on the big screens and everything else, hopefully it can raise as much awareness as possible. Tracy, I can imagine you've got a pretty hectic week, so we will wrap things up there. And Ian as well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Tracy, just a final word for people that are either going on Saturday or not, any final thought or final message for them?
Yeah, well, I know that we all want 3 points. I think we'll all come away going, what's going on if we haven't? But, I know that people are tight with their money. So, anything that you can give the charity is going to be a huge help. They have the merchandise in store at the official store. So, buying a piece of DT38 merchandise will help us as well. All profits come to us. And and if you've got small children, if you've got men in your life, just take the time to learn about what DT38 is all about and why it's so important that we raise awareness. And also too, on the 38th minute, that proud mum moment when everyone stands and acknowledges Dylan and the brave battle that he put up to be a professional West Ham player that unfortunately was taken away from him. And so once again, very proud moment for me, and I'm very moved on the day and at that time in particular.
Yeah, it's a really touchy moment. Even when we were there last year, Ian, just to see that on the 38th minute, it's touching and makes you step back for a minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's moving. All of it's moving, to be honest with you. And I'm fortunate, obviously, that I've stood next to Tracy at a match when the 38th minutes come up, and even at our football match, and it's one of them moments where you can't help but feel obviously for Tracy, for her family again, for Jim and Taylor and everyone associated with it. But if you can do anything, then you can raise more awareness, support their events, and donate. That's a big thing. And I always sort of get the 38th minute out of the way. Everyone sort of wipes your tears away, and if you can donate a £5 or something, then it's great. And that means as much to everyone associated with the charity, because at the end of the day, it is about raising funds and awareness. That's it. Sharing the message is great, but to enable them to do what they want to do and to what they can do at their best, it takes money, unfortunately. But we can all do our bit, hopefully, on Saturday. But it's
absolutely
always hugely well respected as well. The fans are just brilliant, aren't they? But always both sets of fans as well. I remember the Crystal Palace game when Dylan had sadly passed away. The Crystal Palace fans were unbelievable that day. Different club.
Yeah, and I think the most significant thing for me this weekend is Dylan's passing's always been on the 18th of April, which 11 years ago was Good Friday. Well, tomorrow is the 18th of April, Good Friday, and that doesn't happen very often. And so it's, and then the retiring of the shirt on the 19th of April the next day. In 2014, those dates align this weekend, and so it's a little bit more significant moment for me than it has been in the previous years.
Yeah,
makes it that just extra bit special. No, absolutely. Tracy, you're amazing. Hopefully on Saturday it all goes to plan, as I'm sure it will, and the charity gets everything out of it that it possibly can. And Ian, the work you do to put on these events, fantastic, and hopefully many more of them to come as well. I mean, look, hopefully if you've been watching this either live or a little bit later on, hopefully we've inspired you to do something about it, and you can head over to the DT38 website to check out more information if you need it, and a page to donate. And everyone watching, I mean, to be fair, I promise I don't pay Fathead when he says this type of show. It's what sets this channel apart. It's so important to be discussed. Well done, Jake, Tracy, Ian, and my dad. Absolutely. I'm just a face, right? I'm just a face.
Saturday as well, which will cheer us up a little more as well.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, if we don't win Saturday, then
we might all go on holiday.
Yeah, give us a good excuse.
Graham Potter, fortunate enough to meet him at the film. He was very, very engaging about the charity, which was a huge, not a relief, but it was great, because he must get bombarded with so much stuff, and all at the end of the day, football. But Tracy was so engaging, wasn't he? He really wanted to know about everyone done, and it was a breath of fresh air, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was. It was actually, it's like you mentioned, when the players ring you because they are interested. He really was. And when I showed him, what we teach the kids, I showed him the medical testicles and how we teach them to look for lumps and that sort of thing. It's not something that everybody sees all the time. So he was very interested in our approach to the education and awareness thing. So, yeah, it's like I said before, when you have, the top dog on your side or in your court, it just makes it easier when you go to have events that need to engage his players. He's on board, and it's a huge difference for sure.
It's fantastic. Yeah, and that's fantastic. And to have it, as you said, to come from the top, from the manager, and hopefully he can do his best to support it and push it further as well. And hopefully he gets some nice players in the summer, and he's the West Ham manager for a long time, so he can help the charity and he can help it on the pitch as well. Would be nice. Tracy, Ian, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I will be there alongside 60,000 on Saturday. Hopefully, education is the main and primary thing that hopefully people can get out of it and can donate and can help the charity. But from us, thank you very much indeed. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to West Ham Official, head over to the DT38 website to find out more information. Tracy and Ian, once again, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you soon right here on West Ham Official. Thank you very much and goodbye. Cheers, guys. Thank you.